After we have selected our project and created an action plan, it's time to develop an effective monitoring and evaluating plan. Think about how you will monitor your project before it begins. A monitoring and evaluation plan, or M&E for short, is a document that can help keep track of our project process, explore the results of the project, and identify areas where we need to reassess the impact or task. This document helps us to see in real time what is happening with our project and gives us the flexibility to make changes if necessary. One of the main reasons to monitor and evaluate our projects is to ensure that we keep detailed information so that if any changes are needed, it will be easy to do so. Monitoring helps us analyze and look at our project from different angles to see what is going well, where there are improvements, and what we can maintain. Evaluating helps us identify the problems or challenges of our projects and helps us identify the solutions too. It's important to have an M&E plan. This plan helps you lay out your goals, ways to identify if goals are being met, and how to report them later on. Here is an example of an M&E plan. Of course, you can adjust and change it to match your project details and specifics. So let's walk through each aspect and component of the plan to see how they work together and how they are a powerful tool in helping you monitor your project. First, we have our goal. The first example states, 80% of participants will feel like their public speaking skill improved after the one-day event with the seminar on public speaking. This can be calculated by having a survey at the beginning of the event with a question like, on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being very confident, how confident are you with your current speaking skills? The end survey at the end of the seminar would have the same question, and you can compare the results of the beginning and end survey to see if participants felt more confident about their speaking abilities at the end of the seminar. As you can see on this chart, there are different ways to collect data, such as from surveys and financial documents, which we will talk about soon. It's also important to note how often data needs to be collected and who will collect this data. Keep in mind that the M&E plan is a document that should be revised, edited, and reviewed frequently, so that it is up to date with any changes during the project. Every project's M&E plan may look a little different based on the needs of the project and what needs to be evaluated. Collecting data for your M&E can come in a variety of ways. Let's look at a few examples to see how you can collect information for your plan. First, let's look at surveys. Surveys at the beginning, middle, and end of your project can be a powerful indicator of how successful the project is. This can be a physical or digital form. Having participants and those involved in the project complete a survey in the middle of the project can help you see if any changes need to be made or if there are any issues that have occurred that will need to be addressed. Surveys at the end of the project can help you see what areas need improvement and what was successful. Now let's look at interviews and focus groups. Data about your project can also be collected through talking with people participating in the project or that are benefiting from the project. These interviews can be one-on-one or in small groups and are a great way to ask open-ended questions to get people's opinions. They can be a great tool if needing immediate feedback on the project. And finally, let's look at financial data and statistics. Numbers and quantitative data can be found through surveys, looking at financial information, or keeping track of other quantifiable information through the project. Ensuring that you have documents for evaluating and monitoring finances, participant information, and survey results can all be useful to have specific numbers at the end of the project. Now that you know how to create your own M&E plan or framework and collect the data for it, let's hear from Musa Kaba, a guest alumnus from Liberia, about the monitoring and evaluation he did for his project.
Hi, my name is Musa A. Kaba. Yes, a senior alumni from Liberia. 2015-2016 was my exchange year, and I was placed in Michigan at Bina City. So today I'm going to be talking about my projects, especially the monitoring and evaluation aspect of my projects. So I'm the founder and executive director of a non-profit organization in Liberia called Better Understanding for a Better Liberia. And we usually do summits, and I've implemented a lot of projects, yes, grant projects, and also work with the U.S. Embassy in Liberia. So the first question is, what data do I collect when I'm, doing my monitoring evaluation? So usually I do 3 stages of, data collection and evaluation. So the first one is pre-project. So during the planning phase of my project, I collect a lot of data and I evaluate those data, and then those evaluation determine what decision I'm going to take. And then I also do data collection while the project is going on, and then I do another collection when the project is completed, and then I put those three together and see whether my projection from the planning, was the same thing was the same result that I got after the project. So, and then I evaluate that and see my report. So usually, like what I learned from my data collection, some data that I collect in the beginning, like price of materials, and then how many participants do I want to recruit, where am I going to recruit those participants from, like in the suburbs, in the villages, or in the rural areas. All of these things usually include in my data collection. So something that you always learn is that things, especially inflation, you usually can plan very well enough for inflation, and prices of things might change. So you always learn something new when you have your pre-planning, like you have all your data collection and you evaluate it. And then while the project is going on, you can actually match your result from what you planned, what you thought was going to be the result of what data you collected. So there's always something new to learn in that regard. Also, how often do you want to monitor your project? You can monitor your project as much, as often as possible, but usually, like I said, you need at least, from my perspective, from all my experience, you need at least 3 different monitoring and evaluation phases. Like phase 1 is, to do your monitoring and evaluation before the project, and then 1 during the project, and then 1 after the project. And then that will give you a very comprehensive report that you can, give to your donors or, partners. Well, yeah, like difficulties is usually collecting those data and also interpreting those data and making sense of the data. So that's usually the most difficult and challenging part. And also doing the implementation phase, because now you have to make sure that your planning matches your actual phase or implementation phase of the project. Like, what advice would I give to other alumni? Make sure you do a lot of research before you do a project, and also talk to other alumni who have implemented short project or similar project in your country. And also feel free to reach out to other alumni in other countries, because we are always available. I'm a very good resource. If you need me, just reach out to me. And other alumni from other places, make sure you reach out to them. That would be my advice for other alumni, and have fun. It's really good.
Now that we have learned more about monitoring and evaluating, go to the next video to explore reporting best practices.